Everyone is paying attention to the conflict between Iran and the West, particularly over the nuclear negotiations. But what you're probably missing is the ongoing debate within the Iranian leadership as they face a number of potentially existential problems. Iran is at a critical point as it faces severe economic pressure and the crisis with the Islamic State. The question for them is, what is the best way to strengthen the regime and keep the revolution going? Is it hunkering down and becoming more ideological, or is it opening up and being more savvy diplomatically? Rouhani sees letting the heat off from the West, being able to de-escalate the situation with the U.S. as a way to move forward and to actually invite more investment, to strengthen Iran's economy, to frankly modernize the state more so that it's in a better position to survive in the future. The concern that many observers have is whether this de-escalation that Rouhani is pursuing, is it tactical or is it more of a permanent thing? Personally, I see it as more of a tactic that is helping to, diffuse a lot of initial problems, but he's not addressing the fundamental approaches that the regime takes towards its domestic policies, its foreign policies, and its policies in particular to the U.S. and the West. Since his election in 2013, President Rouhani has been pursuing another objective of improving Iran's image on the global stage. A classic example of this is his UN speech in September of 2014, where in the midst of the fight against ISIS, he was promoting Iran as a responsible leader against global terrorism. This is actually quite funny given that Iran is probably the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism. But this is still an interesting campaign that Rouhani is promoting, and frankly others within the West are kind of attracted to. And you see this in the reaction to his visits to New York, his outreach with U.S. and European diplomats, that they really look at Rouhani as a solid guy that is a potential reformer, someone that is trying to make Iran a more responsible actor. And I think this is a real challenge for us because it's a narrative that doesn't actually quite fit with reality, but it has a certain attraction. At the same time, the Supreme Leader is not fully sold on where Rouhani wants to go on foreign and domestic issues. The Supreme Leader has a lot of historical concerns about the effects of opening up to the West, the most classic being during President Khatami's presidency in the late 1990s, that eventually led to rising expectations among the younger generation and led to then student protest movement that became a severe test to the regime's unity and required a very severe crackdown. After those kinds of experiences, the Supreme Leader worries if we open up to the West, is that going to invite all sorts of influences that could undermine our stability, undermine our regime, and so he's going to be very suspicious about where this goes long term. However, I want to emphasize that this is not something that is an all-out conflict between the two. I believe both Rouhani and Khamenei share the same ultimate goals. They're just having a difference of opinion about what's the best way to achieve those. They're going to try to find ways forward. I just don't know if they're going to agree on the solution.